Let's be honest. For most of your life, you've probably been given a message about self-pleasure, that it's something for younger years, a private act that you should have left behind by the time you reached 50. But what if I told you this belief isn't just outdated? What if I told you that masturbation, far from being something to outgrow, could be the very key to maintaining your vitality as you age? My name is Dr. Lisa Perriera, and as a physician specializing in geriatric care for women, I've spent over 30 years helping women like you reclaim their strength, health, and confidence. Over the years, I've seen firsthand the silent consequences of decades spent avoiding or feeling shame about our bodies. Many women suffer not from an unavoidable disease, but from what they were never taught. What they didn't know is that how you touch yourself, how often you do it, and the mindset you bring to it can impact everything from your pelvic health to your hormonal balance and mental well-being. Yes, you heard that right. Masturbation isn't just about pleasure. It's about maintaining function, promoting mental health, and nurturing a vital connection to your body. Now in this video, I'm going to share 7 secrets about self-pleasure that every woman over 60 should have known decades ago. These truths are not just about feeling good in the moment, but about ensuring that your body, mind, and spirit remain in alignment as you age. But first, I want you to think about something. If a small part of your daily routine could unlock better health, elevate your mood, and give you more energy, would you want to know what it is? Stick with me, because what I'm about to share might just change how you live the next chapter of your life. Let's begin with the first truth. The way you've been masturbating for years, perhaps even decades, might seem like a harmless routine. But after 60, what once felt natural could be quietly working against you. This is where most women make the most overlooked mistake. It's subtle, it's silent, and over time it can have profound consequences. Let me explain. Secret 1: mindless masturbation can lead to numbness and pain. I can't tell you how many older women I've seen in my office, their eyes downcast in quiet shame as they admit I don't feel much anymore, or I can't orgasm unless I use my vibrator on the highest setting. One patient in particular said, "It's like my body forgot how to feel." What they didn't realize was that this disconnect wasn't a result of age. It was a result of how they'd been touching themselves all these years. Mindless masturbation done quickly and mechanically trains the body for dysfunction. Every time you rush through it focused only on the end goal and using intense stimulation, you're conditioning your brain and body to rely on that same routine. Over time, your natural sensitivity declines. You need more pressure, more intensity, more tricks just to feel what you used to feel. And that unfortunately makes it harder to respond to a partner's touch, because their touch might feel too different, too slow, too real. The result, you begin to avoid intimacy, and the real damage sets in physically and emotionally. I've watched this happen countless times. Women spiral into frustration, shame, and even depression, thinking their bodies are broken. But in many cases, their bodies aren't broken. They've simply been overtrained in the wrong direction. The condition that results from this is called desensitization. Your body becomes less responsive to gentle touch, and in some cases this can lead to anorgasmia, the inability to climax or make sex painful, because your body isn't aroused enough to produce natural lubrication. This isn't rare. It's quietly affecting millions of women who never realized they were unintentionally causing it. The worst part: when you condition your body this way and don't correct it, it's not just your sex life that suffers. You lose confidence, you lose connection, and emotionally, you begin to retreat. Over time, your relationship with your own body becomes cold. You avoid touch. You avoid closeness. And for many women, that sense of isolation grows, leading to emotional distance, depression, and even the early signs of cognitive decline. It's a silent, creeping process, and I don't want you to feel like it's too late to fix it. The good news is your body can relearn, your nervous system can heal. But it takes awareness, patience, and a new way of approaching self-pleasure, one that is slower, more conscious, and more connected, not just to sensation, but to emotion. Masturbation isn't the enemy, but doing it without awareness is like driving a car without steering. Eventually, you're going to crash. By the time you realize the damage, the repairs may take longer than you think. In the next section, I'm going to show you how to break this cycle and approach self-pleasure in a way that nurtures your body and soul. Stay with me. Now that we've explored how mindless masturbation can cause numbness and pain, it's time to shift our focus to something just as important and something many women neglect as they age. The truth is, avoiding self-pleasure altogether can be just as harmful. You might be surprised to hear this, but it's a critical truth that most women never realize until they're already feeling the effects. Secret 2. Masturbation maintains vaginal health and fights atrophy. I'll never forget a woman I saw in my clinic a few years ago. Let's call her Eleanor. Eleanor was 68, vibrant, happily married, but sex had started to feel excruciatingly painful for her. She described a sensation of tightness, burning, and dryness. She thought it was just an unavoidable part of aging. Like so many women, she didn't expect me to ask, "When was the last time you experienced arousal or an orgasm on your own?" Her response, years ago. She hadn't thought about self-pleasure since she and her husband weren't having sex as often. She assumed her body would adjust. But here's what she didn't realize: when you stop engaging with your body sexually, you stop nourishing it in the way it needs. Let's talk about why this matters. When you stop having orgasms or experiencing arousal, your vaginal tissues still need blood flow to stay healthy. That blood flow provides oxygen and nutrients to the tissues, keeping them plump, elastic, and lubricated. When the blood flow decreases, the tissues can begin to thin, dry out, and lose elasticity. This is known as vaginal atrophy, and it's what leads to painful sex, urinary tract infections, and incontinence. Arousal and orgasm are the body's natural mechanisms for delivering blood to the pelvic region. And without this, your vaginal and clitoral tissues don't get the nourishment they need. Think of it like watering a garden. Without regular care, the flowers wither. But when you start paying attention again, when you start engaging with your body, the results can be transformative. When Eleanor understood this, she began to touch herself again, not out of obligation, but because she recognized it as a form of self-care. Slowly, her symptoms improved. The pain eased. Sex became pleasurable again. And more importantly, something in her eyes lit up. She had reconnected with a part of herself that she thought had been lost to time. This isn't just about pleasure, it's about your pelvic health. When you neglect this area of your body, you risk more than just physical discomfort. You risk a diminished quality of life, chronic pain medications you don't need, and a sense of isolation from your own body. Now, I know this may feel uncomfortable to think about, but I want to encourage you to reflect on the importance of maintaining vaginal health. You wouldn't neglect your heart or your blood pressure, so why ignore your pelvic health? It's just as vital to your overall well-being, and you deserve to care for it. But the emotional impact of neglecting this part of your health is just as significant. For many women, there's a quiet shame around self-touch and self-pleasure that can make the situation worse. Let's talk about why this shame is so damaging. Secret 3. Shame around self-touch damages your mental health. Shame has a powerful hold on many older women, especially when it comes to their sexual health. I see it often in my office, the subtle shift in posture, the eyes that look away when the word masturbation comes up. Some women even laugh it off, brushing it aside with a, "Oh, that was for when I was younger." But underneath their words, I can hear the deeper message. It's not okay to still want this. For decades, many women were taught that self-pleasure was wrong, that it was selfish, dirty, or something only for the bad girls. These early messages didn't just disappear. They settled deep in the nervous system, shaping how you view your body even now. The result, emotional withdrawal. You stop reaching for yourself, not because you don't want to, but because you've been conditioned to feel that you shouldn't. Over time, this disconnection becomes more than emotional, it becomes physical. When you stop engaging with your sexual self, your body starts to interpret that as a form of emotional retreat. It's a vicious cycle, and it can have profound consequences for your mental and physical health. Regular healthy sexual touch, including masturbation, supports your mental well-being in real measurable ways. It regulates cortisol, the stress hormone, boosts dopamine, the pleasure chemical, and fosters oxytocin, the bonding hormone. It can help you sleep better, improve your mood, and even enhance cognitive function. But shame disrupts all of that. It tightens your muscles, raises your stress hormones, and creates guilt loops in your mind that are hard to break. I remember a patient named Carol, a 72-year-old widow who had been deeply depressed. She hadn't had any sexual activity either with a partner or alone in over a decade. She told me I just thought that chapter was closed. But beneath her words was a quiet grief, not for the loss of sex, but for the loss of self. We worked together slowly without any drastic changes, through simple exercises to reconnect her to her own body without guilt or expectation. Something began to shift. She started walking taller. She was sleeping better. She laughed again. Her blood pressure even came down. Carol wasn't fixed. She was reconnected to herself. And that's the power of overcoming shame. It's about reclaiming your body, your vitality, and your self-worth. Now, if shame can have such a devastating effect, what happens when hormonal decline adds fuel to the fire? That's exactly what we'll talk about next. Now that we've discussed how shame can damage your mental health and the importance of overcoming it, let's dive into something that impacts every woman over 60: hormonal changes. It's something that often goes unnoticed until its effects are already being felt. But here's the truth that most women don't hear until it's too late. Your hormones don't just change because of age. They change when you stop engaging with your sexual self altogether. And when that balance starts to shift, it affects so much more than your sex drive. Secret 4. Your hormones are stimulated by sexual activity. I've seen this happen countless times. Women who think that the hormonal changes they're experiencing are simply a part of getting older. But that's only part of the story. When you stop engaging in sexual activity, whether with a partner or on your own, your body begins to stop producing the hormones that keep you vibrant, energized, and emotionally balanced. I've had women in their 70s, vibrant and full of life in their younger years, come to me and say, "I'm just slowing down, doc. It's part of getting older." But after reviewing their health and their habits, I often discover that the real issue isn't their age, it's their lack of engagement with their own bodies. Their hormonal systems have downshifted because they've stopped engaging in the natural rhythms that come with intimacy. Here's what most women don't realize when you stop living as a woman who still wants to feel alive. Your hormones stop producing the same robust cascade of neurochemicals. These are the feel-good chemicals, oxytocin, dopamine, endorphins, that fuel your mood, energy, and sense of well-being. Without them, stress hormones like cortisol can dominate, making you feel more anxious, fatigued, and emotionally flat. Let me share a story with you. Margaret, a 73-year-old retired teacher, came to see me feeling anxious and tired. She told me I just don't feel like myself anymore. But when I reviewed her medical records, everything seemed fine. No deficiencies, no major health issues. But then I asked her, When was the last time you experienced arousal or orgasm? She looked at me like I was speaking a foreign language. I don't see the point anymore, she said. That was a red flag. When we stop engaging with our sexual selves, we start to miss out on the very hormones that keep us connected to life. Margaret wasn't slowing down because of her age. She was slowing down because she had forgotten the power of her own sexual energy. After working with Margaret, we introduced simple practices to reconnect her with herself without any pressure. Over time, her anxiety lifted. She started sleeping better. Her posture improved. She felt more alive, her voice carried more warmth, and her eyes sparkled again. This isn't just about sex. This is about reawakening your body's natural systems. When you re-engage with your sexual energy, your hormones respond, and the benefits ripple out through your entire life. The hormonal shifts you experience aren't just a sign of aging, they're a result of how you've been living, or more importantly, how you've been neglecting your own needs. Your body still craves connection, vitality, and pleasure. When you deny it, that you're robbing yourself of the very things that keep you thriving. But here's the good news. Your body is resilient. Even after years of neglect, you can reclaim that balance. It's not about doing it all at once. It's about starting with small, intentional steps to remind your body that it still matters, that it still needs this connection to feel whole. Now let's look at something even more critical, the role your pelvic function plays in your overall health. Secret 5. Pelvic function is a use it or lose it system. There's a quiet lie that many women start to believe after 60. It sounds like this. If I'm not having sex, I don't need to worry about my pelvic health anymore. But here's the reality. Your pelvic health isn't just about sex. It's about blood flow, muscle tone, bladder control, and nerve health. It's about your overall well-being. I remember Helen, a sharp, 69-year-old woman who hadn't had an orgasm in years, not because she couldn't, but because she thought there was no reason to. Her husband had passed, and she figured that part of her life was just over. What she didn't realize was that her pelvic floor muscles were weakening, and the effects weren't just physical, they were psychological too. When we neglect our pelvic health, we don't just lose sensitivity. We lose muscle tone, nerve sensitivity, and control over our bladder. These aren't just minor inconveniences, they can severely affect your quality of life. When you don't engage your pelvic muscles regularly, they weaken. The vaginal walls thin and blood flow diminishes. Over time, the clitoris can actually shrink from lack of stimulation. This is why urinary incontinence becomes more common for women over 60. It's not just because of age, but because we haven't been maintaining the strength and function of our pelvic region. But here's the kicker. These changes happen whether you're actively trying to be sexually active or not. It's a biological truth. When you stop using a system, your body starts to shut it down. The good news is you can reverse these changes. Regular arousal, even through self-pleasure, helps to keep blood flowing to the pelvic region, nourishing tissues, toning muscles, and preserving nerve function. This isn't about chasing pleasure. It's about preserving your health, your identity, and your confidence. It's never too late to start taking care of your pelvic health. By re-engaging with your body, you're sending a powerful message to your nervous system: I'm still here. I still matter. And that message resonates through every part of your body. In the next part, we'll dive into something that may surprise you: how pornography can subtly affect your ability to experience real connection. But first, take a moment to think about your pelvic health. It's not just about sex, it's about your overall vitality. Take care of it, and it will take care of you. Now that we've discussed the importance of maintaining pelvic health and how your hormones are affected by self-pleasure, it's time to address something that many women don't even realize could be affecting them. It's something that has quietly reprogrammed our minds, especially in the digital age, and it might be stealing your vitality without you even noticing. Secret 6. Pornography changes your brain. But you can take control. Let's talk about something that's often left in the shadows, especially for older women: pornography. Now, I know just saying the word might make some of you uncomfortable. But stay with me, because what I'm about to say could very well change the way you understand your body and your capacity for pleasure. I've had women in their 60s and 70s admit to watching pornography. It's not because they're obsessed, but because it's one of the few ways they can still feel something. Some live alone, some are divorced, others widowed. They're not seeking thrills, they're seeking connection, or at least the memory of it. But here's what almost none of them realize: today's pornography is nothing like the soft focus films of the past. It's a constant flood of high-speed, high-stimulation, instant gratification content. And the human brain, especially an aging brain, isn't equipped to process that overload without consequences. Every time you watch porn, especially the more extreme types, your brain releases a surge of dopamine, the chemical associated with reward and pleasure. But over time, this repeated exposure desensitizes your brain. It becomes harder to feel aroused by real-life touch, by your own imagination, or by any kind of natural, intimate connection. What you begin to need is more intensity, more novelty, and more exaggerated stimulation to feel anything at all. And this isn't just about taste or preference, it's about neurochemistry. It's about your brain wiring itself to expect artificial, exaggerated stimulation. The consequences of this can be profound. You might find it harder to reach orgasm with a partner, or even by yourself. This is a growing problem for many women who turn to pornography as a way to escape or experience some form of pleasure. Unfortunately, over time, it takes more and more stimulation to achieve the same level of arousal, leaving you feeling disconnected from your own body and your own pleasure. But here's the important part: you can retrain your brain. You are not broken. Your brain still has the ability to heal and to reconnect with real grounded pleasure. It starts by taking control. This doesn't mean giving up pleasure. It means reconnecting with it in a way that is authentic and healthy for your body. For many women, this means taking a break from digital stimulation, allowing the brain and body to reset. Some women choose to take a 30-day break from all visual stimulation. Others ease into it more slowly. What matters is that you begin to rebuild your nervous system's relationship to pleasure on your own terms. This is not about punishment or shame. It's about reclaiming your pleasure, your sensitivity, and your joy. And just when you think that's the most surprising thing I've said, let me share with you the most critical truth of all. Secret 7. Isolation is the most dangerous mistake. Of all the risks older women face, there's one that is more dangerous than hormonal imbalance, more harmful than pornography, and more damaging than any physical symptom. It's isolation. I'm not just talking about living alone. I'm talking about a deeper kind of isolation, the kind where you stop being touched, stop touching yourself, and stop connecting to your own body. I'll never forget a patient named Patricia, a 76-year-old retired librarian. She was polite, well put together, but there was something hollow in her voice when she spoke about her daily life. She told me she hadn't been physically touched in over a year. Not a hug, not a hand on her shoulder, nothing. She didn't say it with sadness. She said it with resignation, like it was just a chapter that had ended. What Patricia didn't realize was that touch is not a luxury. It's a biological need. Our bodies, even at 60, 70, or 80, are wired for it. When we go too long without physical contact, our nervous system begins to downshift. Oxytocin levels drop. Stress hormones creep in. Blood pressure rises. Sleep suffers. Immune function weakens. And most dangerous of all, our brains begin to shut down emotional and sensory circuits as a form of self-protection. Here's what happens when we stop being touched. We begin to go numb, not just physically, but emotionally. We lose that connection to ourselves. And over time, this sense of isolation doesn't just affect your body, it affects your spirit. You stop feeling the urgency to engage with the world. You stop seeing yourself as someone who deserves touch someone who is still alive and vital. This kind of isolation has been linked to depression, heart disease, and even early death. It's not just about being alone, it's about abandoning yourself. But the good news is you can break this cycle. You don't have to wait for someone else to touch you. The act of reconnecting to your own body, whether through self-pleasure, a hug, or simply being present with yourself, is a profound act of self-love. The journey back to connection doesn't require anyone else. It starts with you. It starts with the choice to stop shrinking, to stop apologizing for wanting to feel good in your own body, to stop believing the lie that age makes you invisible. You're not invisible. You're still here. And what you do next matters. As we wrap up, I want to remind you of something powerful. Proactive self-care is the ultimate form of self-respect. Tending to your body, your mind, and your spirit every day is not just a survival strategy, it's a strategy for a vibrant life. Reconnecting with your body is one of the most powerful choices you can make. It's a declaration to your brain, your heart, and your nervous system. I am still here. I still matter. If this message resonated with you, I encourage you to share your thoughts in the comments below. Let's continue this conversation. You are not alone in this. And please, if you know someone who would benefit from hearing this, share it with them. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel to stay informed and empowered on your journey to a vibrant, healthy life after 60. Thank you for your time, and be well.